Alrighty. I have the wrong script open.
That is not helpful.
It's a good start. Welcome to episode 5.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, look at us go.
Look at us go. What have I got? Oh, I have a correction. I have 2 corrections actually.
Oh, okay.
From the Soa murders as I was editing it. In one part I said 2021. I meant 2001. And there was a part we were discussing Ian being a caretaker at the college. So the girls didn't go to the college, but they went to the primary school. So he worked at a different school at one point. I was talking as if he worked at the school they worked at.
Went to.
They
didn't work yet.
They didn't work well. Yeah. How old were they? 10?
Something like that.
Very young.
Not working age.
No. That was my only correction.
Not bad.
I think. I do have a recommendation though for a book. I think I gave you this book last time. The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn.
Yes, you did give me that book.
Recommend the book, not the movie. The movie was alright, but like
books are always better.
The book was way better, and like I finished it, and then I made every time I'm reading a book, I'll see if there's a movie on it, so then like Jay can watch it. He's not a movie person instead of a book person.
So spec.
And I was like, oh, there's one on Netflix, and we watched it, and the whole time I'm like, there's like a storyline that goes through the whole book, and it's not anywhere in the movie.
Yeah.
But that storyline was like needed to make sense.
Yeah.
At the end.
Okay.
And like the whole time I was waiting for it, I'm like, where the fuck is it? And then it was just very like, I don't know, I felt like it was very rushed. Like I get trying to put a book into a movie. You have to cut some things out. But like, yeah, I was a little bit disappointed in the movie. And then some things in the movie didn't happen in the book. I was like, oh.
Well, I finally watched Baby Reindeer.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
No, it was kind of boring.
It was very, I don't know, I feel like we're desensitized to shit like that. But everyone was like, oh my God.
Yeah, no, I was like, really? You're both kind of idiots. And that's how it ended? Really?
They both, yeah. It was kind of sweet, the ending, where she's like, I had a baby reindeer, blah, blah, blah. But, I don't know. And then all the, like, if you watch TikTok and stuff, when she goes on Piers Morgan and stuff.
Yeah. If that is the real her, she creepy.
But she outed herself.
Yeah, she's stupid.
Like, everyone was like, oh, I think it's her. And then he came out going like, please don't speculate on who these people are. And then she's like, all over her Facebook, like, this is me, pretty much. It's like, if you just shut up, no one would have known.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely said, don't speculate.
Yeah. And then she goes on a talk show.
Yeah.
And he's like, it was me.
Yeah.
I was like, you could have just not.
Well, you outed yourself, honey. So now he can talk about you however he likes.
And then everyone's speculating on the guy that like raped him. And he's like, none of yous have like got the right person. Please stop speculating as well. But like, you're harassing people that it's not.
Yeah.
And he's like, you just made a comment, like, please stop speculating. But yeah, now people are saying like they want a Baby Reindeer part 2, but from like Martha's perspective. I was like, that's unhinged.
God, we don't need one of those.
And then there was another Piers Morgan interview with like a lawyer that she used to work with. She was like she used to take the phone call and then be like, here's the details, and pass them on to a lawyer. And she said she was fucking nuts. Like, she just went off at like the slightest things.
Yeah, well, wasn't that like in the show, wasn't that the lawyer that she was convicted of stalking previously?
I don't know if she stalked this lady, but the lady that did the interview just like worked with her.
Oh, okay.
And she said she'd be like how she's portrayed in the show and just be like fly off the handle and be like, don't talk to me like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
sounds like a stand-up kind of gal.
Please just let me in.
Hi, Ziggy.
I'm going to blow away. Oh, his little ear's flapping in the wind.
Oh, Ziggy wants to join the pod.
Oh, he thinks he's like Toto in The Wizard of Oz. He's going to fly away. Bye, Ziggy. Enjoy Oz. So today we have
Number 5.
Number 5 is Australian.
Okay.
We're back in Australia.
Yes, we are.
We were in Australia last time as well with Ronald Ryan.
We're also in Australia.
We are also in Australia
That's
right now.
where we are.
We couldn't tell by our accents. All right, we have Miss Katherine Mary Knight.
Of course we have Katherine Knight. Okay.
This is one that Jay knows. Like, there's a handful that he knows very well.
Yeah.
And he knows Miss Katherine Knight.
I obviously know Katherine Knight very well also.
And if you guys don't,
buckle up.
yeah, strap yourselves in. This one's fucked up. So we have Katherine Mary Knight, who was born on the 24th of October 1955 in Tenterfield, New South Wales, Australia. That song was actually on the radio when we were driving, the Tenterfield Saddler. Her mother was Barbara Ruffin. Her barber. Fuck.
She didn't have a barber.
Her mother, Barbara Ruffin, had been married to Jack Ruffin and lived with him in the small town of Aberdeen in New South Wales, Hunter Valley. They had 4 sons before Barbara began an affair with Ken Knight, a friend and co-worker of her then husband. Local backlash from the news forced Barbara and Ken to move to Moree? More? It's like more, but with an extra E.
Don't know.
Moree. None of her sons went with her. The 2 eldest boys continued to live with their father, and the 2 youngest sons went to live with an aunt in Sydney. Barbara had 4 additional children with Ken, including Katherine and her twin sister.
Busy.
That's like 8 kids?
Wait,
She had 4 and then 4.
4 additional.
2 eldest boys. Yeah, she had 4.
As well as Katherine? That's 9.
Had 4 additional children with Ken, including Katherine.
Oh, okay. That is 8. Busy.
That's a lot. Get a TV or something.
Sneezing, they'd come out.
Yeah. In 1959, when Katherine was 4, Jack Ruffin died, and her 2 older brothers, who had been living with him, moved in with Barbara and Ken, making this now a household of 8 people.
Jesus.
Oh, fuck that. Ken Knight was described as a violent alcoholic who would rape Barbara up to 10 times per day.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Stay with the man. Good idea.
Yeah, that sounds like a great relationship.
Yep.
Barbara would often tell her daughters intimate details of her sex life and how much she hated sex and men.
Okay. That's trauma.
That's not a conversation with your child, for one. But
that's how you create unhealthy relationships in your children.
Yeah, and like obviously she probably would hate sex after having to have sex with her husband 10 times a day. That's fucked.
Yeah, but like don't talk about that with your children.
Yeah.
Get a therapist.
Yeah.
That's what they're there for.
1960 was therapy.
They existed. They
exist. They just weren't used.
They just weren't great.
Katherine had complained to her mum on one occasion that one of her partners wanted her to take part in a sex act she did not want to perform. Barbara told her to, quote, put up with it and stop complaining.
Okay.
Great values, Barbara.
Good parenting.
Katherine claimed she was frequently sexually assaulted by several members of her family, which continued until she was aged 11. Although there were doubts about the details, psychiatrists accepted her claims and the events having been largely confirmed by other members of the family. So other people in her family knew that she was getting sexually assaulted by other people in their family. And they didn't hey, Uncle Bob, stop.
You know, that's actually really fucking common. It's like the whole bystander effect thing. If I don't say something, surely someone else will.
Someone else will deal with it.
Someone will deal with it, but just not me.
Don't want to get involved. Not my monkey, not my circus.
Yeah, well, it is your monkey and it is your circus, so do something about it.
Yeah. Barbara's great-grandmother was a Indigenous Australian from the Moree area who had married an Irishman. Barbara was proud of this fact and identified as Aboriginal. This was kept a family secret as there was considerable racism in the area at the time, and Barbara's descent... Is it descent?
I'm going to need the rest of the sentence.
Was a source of tension for the children. Descent just doesn't sound right, though, but I think it is.
I think it is, like, as in the fact that she's descendant from Indigenous Australians.
Yeah.
And the racism.
Ripe in everywhere. Apart from her twin sister, the only person whom Katherine was close to was her uncle, Oscar Knight, who at the time was a champion horseman. She was devastated when he committed suicide in 1969 and continues to maintain that his ghost visits her. The same year, the Knight family moved back to Aberdeen. Katherine attended Muswell Brook High School, where she was described as a loner and is remembered by classmates as a bully who stood over smaller children. She assaulted at least one boy at school with a weapon and once injured a teacher.
Yep.
That sounds lovely. By contrast, when not enraged, Katherine was a model student and often earned awards for her good behaviour. Flip.
Okay.
Be a model student but injured a teacher.
Let's just assault people.
Yeah.
But you're smart, so it's okay.
Yeah, her grades were, well, she wasn't. Katherine left school at 15 without having learned to read or write.
Okay.
I feel like at 15 you should know how to read and write.
I also feel like you shouldn't get awards for being a model student if you can't read or write.
But how do you, like, you learn to read and write in, like, grade 2?
You start in prep.
Well, yeah.
That's the whole point of going to school is you learn how to do those things from the beginning.
Yeah,
You know?
so by 15, I feel like that's a bit equal blame on, like, her and the school for not learning how to read or write. Surely she had enough understanding to get by.
You'd hope so.
Well, you'd think so. She got jobs and...
Yeah. The 60s.
The 60s. She gained employment as a cutter in a clothing factory. 12 months later, she left to start what she referred to as her dream job, cutting up offal at the local abattoir.
What a dream.
Oh. I don't know anyone's dream jobs. It's like, I want to work at an abattoir cutting up things.
I love how she went from cutting fabric
to cutting
offal animals.
pigs, cows, sheep.
Shit.
Yeah, Jay's cousin was doing like the plumbing at an abattoir.
Oh.
I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. You don't think about that part where it's like, oh, the pipes are blocked with everything
Blood
that comes
and
out of an
guts.
animal.
You can smell it. At my grandparents' house in New South Wales, it's like a couple of k's away from a piggery.
Oh.
The smell of the blood, like, because I used to go there during school holidays, and in summer,
Oh,
the
Jesus.
smell from the piggery, you're trying to have a nice relaxing swim in the Murray River.
Did you get a slight scent of bacon though?
No, there was no
Oh.
bacon scent, unfortunately. It was just all raw blood.
That's disappointing. It would have been lovely just to, someone's cooking some bacon.
Unfortunately, they just cut them up and ship them off. They
Aw.
don't make anything there.
That's sad.
Or grow them, then cut them up and ship them off.
Grow them.
Make them
Just on
fat.
a little pig tree. Oh, that'd be quite cute though. Not the killing of pigs, but anyway.
If they grew on a tree, it'd be cute.
Yeah, like a little pig tree.
They don't, though.
No. She was quickly promoted to boning and was given her own set of butcher's knives. At home, the knives were hung over her bed. Katherine said she had them displayed there so that they would always be handy if I needed them.
I feel like we've seen quite a few red flags already.
Yeah, but like, if you need, like,
What do you need them for?
like we have a baseball bat just in case next to the bed, but a whole set of knives above your bed? And wouldn't she have to take them down every day to like go to work?
Obviously, but clearly she's hanging them up like they're prized possessions.
Yes, well, she did love her
Displaying
knives.
them.
Bloody Katherine. In 1973, Katherine first met co-worker David Stanford Callett. David was a heavy drinker, which seemed to have started due to two traumatic incidents from a previous railway job in Coffs Harbour. The first was when his best friend was killed in front of him in a shunting accident, and the second was when he rescued injured occupants of a school bus in Kempsey, which had been struck by a train, killing 6 children.
Again, I recommend therapy.
Yeah, that's going to fuck you up.
Alcohol is not therapy.
No. But I feel like when people describe Australians, they're like, oh, they were heavy drinkers. It was like,
Were they heavy drinkers or were they just Aussie?
yeah. I was
It's
like,
a culture.
it's a different like standard here. He eventually lost the job due to deteriorating behaviour and performance, but he soon got work at the nearby Aberdeen Abattoir and became close friends with Katherine's brother.
Let's put a whole bunch of people with trauma working with more dead shit.
Yeah.
And knives. Good idea.
Aberdeen Abattoir is very fun to say though.
Aberdeen Abattoir.
It would get very hard after a while though.
Say that 10 times fast.
Often, if David got into a fight, Katherine was right behind him and would step in and back him up with her fists.
Or a knives.
Yeah, or her knives. Often, if David got... Oh, no, I just said that. In Aberdeen... In Aberdeen, she was well known for physically... You good?
Yeah.
Just
Still
dying.
sick. Still sick. Children.
I reckon we got sick from the fucking play centre.
Oh, children germs are disgusting. Why did we go there?
I don't know. It was quite good though.
It was a good place for the kids
It
to
was
play.
fun.
They had
Such
good
a little
fun.
fucking shit that apparently no parent wanted to take responsibility for.
Yeah.
In Aberdeen, she was well known for physically threatening anyone who upset her. In 1974, Katherine and David got married, and at her request, the couple arrived at the ceremony on her motorcycle with a very intoxicated David on the pillion.
I know motorbikes.
Is it the back or is it like a little...
Oh.
I
don't actually know anything about
I thought you were going to be like, well, it's actually this part of the motorbike.
Well, actually...
I think it's the back part, like the little back seat that they have.
She was dinking him on her bike.
Yeah.
Hop on, lovey.
Hop on, you drunk biker.
Let's go to wedding.
Let's go get married.
We're going to the chapel and we're...
I feel like it's a sign if you have to get super fucking hammered before you get married to someone.
Yeah. And arrive on the back of a motorbike.
It's just a shit show. As soon as they arrived, Catherine's mother, Barbara, gave David the following advice. Quote, "The old girl said to me to watch out. You better watch this one or she'll fucking kill you. Stir her up the wrong way or do the wrong thing and you're fucked. Don't ever think of playing up at her. She'll fucking kill you." And that was her mother talking. She told me she's got something loose. She's got a screw loose or something. She's got a screw loose somewhere.
Okay, Barbara.
Some mother-in-law advice.
That, again, red flag.
Yeah, that should be like, sorry, I've just got to go make a call.
Jesus.
On their wedding night, Katherine tried to strangle David. She later explained it was because he fell asleep after only having intercourse 3 times. I don't think I wrote it, but it was like, wasn't it like her mum and dad had intercourse like 10 times or something? And
on their
like,
wedding night, yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, we got to beat them? Like,
well, clearly, it's not a wedding night if you don't fuck more than 10 times.
yeah.
I better pass that on to Beck for our wedding.
Yeah. Just get the counter.
Just FYI.
We have to leave early. We've got a big night. The marriage proved particularly violent, and on one occasion, a heavily pregnant Katherine burned all of David's clothes and shoes before hitting him across the back of the head with a frying pan, simply because he had arrived home late from a darts competition after reaching the finals.
Yay.
It depends how late was, because if it was like, I'm going to be home at 8 and he gets home at 9, but like if it's, I'm going to be home at 9 and he gets home at 4 a.m. and she's heavily pregnant, I could see her.
I could see her doing that. I don't know that I would say that that's appropriate.
No. I locked Jay out when I was pregnant and he went out for the night. And he had to jump the fence and coming through the garage, and Ziggy was like barking at him, hiding behind the trailer like the world's best guard dog.
You don't mess with a heavily pregnant Katherine Knight.
No. Or just Katherine Knight in
You
general.
don't mess with Katherine Knight.
Pregnant or not. In fear for his life, David fled the house before collapsing in a neighbour's house and was treated for a severely fractured skull.
Jesus,
Did that was damage with that fry pan.
A heavy fry pan. Maybe that's why Rapunzel uses that entangled.
Yeah.
Got
Good
the
weapon.
idea off Katherine Knight.
Could you imagine? They're like, what can we use as a weapon? Fry pan.
Katherine Knight.
Katherine Knight. There's this lady in Australia.
Fractured a skull with it. Must be good.
Well, I think she uses it twice. Like he's not the first person she used the fry pan on. Police wanted to charge Katherine, but she had talked David into dropping the charges. She's not, like, no offense to her, but she's not that good looking. Like, how has she got that much?
Why do you think he had to drink so much?
But, like, I get if she was, like, I don't know, like a really gorgeous woman and, like, they're mesmerized by her and they're like, oh, just drop the charges. Like, she was just going around fucking beating everyone.
Well, perhaps he was scared because he just got fucking smacked with a fry pan.
Yeah. He's probably like, what is she going to do with me if I do press charges?
And I feel like even still now, male victims of domestic violence from the female partners, they're not really taken seriously.
No.
Because they're like, be a man.
Yeah.
know?
Oh, you're a man. You can't be harassed or...
You can't possibly be beaten by your wife.
No.
Like, what did you do to make this happen? Like, I feel like...
Oh, she's just a little woman.
Especially back then. it would be like,
Man up.
yeah, man up, mate.
Grow up. That's just your wife.
Deal with it at home.
In May 1976, shortly after the birth of their first child, David left Katherine for another woman and moved to Queensland.
Clever.
Yeah, that seems great. And left your child as well. With
Well,
Psycho Pants McGee.
lots of people are leaving people with her that they shouldn't be.
Yeah. The next day, Katherine was seen pushing her new baby in a pram down the main street, violently throwing the pram from side to side. Like, I'll give Logan a little jiggle, but I feel like this was...
Violently? That's a bit much.
Violently. He is very cute when he goes over bumps and shit. And his little face fucking jiggles.
Oh, the jiggly cheeks are adorable.
Oh, babies are so cute. I don't know how you fucking... she was admitted to St. Elmo's Hospital in Tamworth, where she was diagnosed with postnatal depression and spent several weeks recovering. After being released, she placed her 2-month-old daughter on a railway line shortly before a train was due.
Oh, fuck.
She then stole an axe and went into town and threatened to kill several people.
Again, red flags.
Yeah, maybe put her back in the hospital.
Or perhaps just like take the baby for a little while. Just so it can't be placed on train tracks.
Yeah, well, an unsheltered man, known in the district as Old Ted, who was foraging near the railway line, found and rescued the baby, by all accounts, only minutes before the train passed.
Shit.
Could you fucking imagine? Imagine being that fucking kid as well. Like,
Ugh.
imagine being any kid that's like, oh, my mum's Katherine Knight. Oh, my dad's Ian Huntley. Oh, my...
Not only is my mum Katherine Knight, but she also tried to kill me by leaving me on a train track at 2 months old. They can't even roll.
They can't, yeah. Oh, little muffin. Katherine was arrested and again taken to St. Elmo's Hospital, but apparently she had recovered and signed herself out the following day.
Oh, yeah.
How was that allowed?
Well, again, mental health.
Like, surely if you've checked yourself in, you can check yourself out. But if you're arrested and then taken there...
Well, it depends. At the moment, they can only do a 24-hour hold, really. And then unless you've been subject to a psych eval and they've, like, said, you cuckoo.
You cuckoo. You must stay here. At St. Elmo's. I feel like St. Elmo's would be like...
Da-da-da-da, St. Elmo's
medication time.
It's, yeah, the mental health sector is...
fucked.
Yeah.
But no, let's spend billions of dollars of having the fucking Commonwealth Games and then fuck it off.
Yeah, clever. We love politics.
Do you see that dickhead got a fucking award?
Yeah. For fucking what, mate? Locking us all down for 2 years. You think the mental health sector was fucked before then? Imagine all those people that are now like cuckoo nuts banana cakes.
And we were talking about like how many people took their lives because of lockdown. And I'm like, other places had less of a lockdown. And
how many people were fucking beaten to the shit house because they couldn't escape people?
Yeah.
They're just like locked in that you cannot leave.
And then they were talking about how they locked down like the commission houses.
Yeah, they did.
I was like, what was the point of that? Why not the high-rise apartments in the city? Why the commission houses?
And we still have the same amount of COVID cases now as we did then.
It's ridiculous. He just wasted 2 years of our life. But he got an award. Congratulations.
God, can't wait for like when our kids are older. We'll be like, you know what they did when we were our age?
Oh, you can't go out tonight? We got to go out for 2 years.
Yeah. I think you'll survive missing one fucking party.
Oh, poor children. She went to St. Elmo's and she was fine the next day.
Oh, she checked herself out.
That's right. A few days later, Katherine slashed the face of a woman with one of her knives and demanded she drive her to Queensland to find David.
You just drive around the
we're going to
entire
Queensland.
State of Queensland, just looking for David.
Yeah, just a whole fucking state. Queensland's huge.
Yep. I mean, most of Australian states are because there's only, 7 of them?
Victoria, New South Wales, Queensland, ACT, Northern Territory, South Australia, Western Australia, and Tasmania. It's 8.
8.
But 7 sounds right. But there's 8.
I don't know.
But yeah, Queensland's huge.
Clearly we don't know much about anything other than dead people.
Yeah. Not even the
and
country.
psychos.
We've already got 8 states. Imagine fucking America with the 52.
Yeah. Is that how many there are?
That sounds right.
Okay.
There used to be 50 and now there's 52. Anyway, the woman escaped after they stopped at a service station. However, by the time police arrived, Katherine had taken a young boy hostage and was threatening him with a knife. She was disarmed when police attacked her with brooms and was admitted to the Morisset Psychiatric Hospital. Could you imagine going in with like a broom? Like, Katherine, put down the knife.
I just Googled it.
Yeah.
Australia has 6 states and 2 territories, so 8 is correct.
Oh, there we go. We're good at maths and geography.
And America has 50 states and the District of Columbia, apparently. So 50 states and Washington, D.C.
Oh, where are 52 from? Still, that's a lot of states.
There are 50 states and Washington, D.C. The last 2 states joined Alaska the 49th and Hawaii the 50th in 1959.
Alaska's fucking huge as well.
Alaska.
It just reminds me of The Simpsons when they're driving and he puts a map over the window of pretty Alaska and then it flies away. Fucking Simpsons movie was best.
Thank you, boob lady.
Run. Rest. Jump.
Anyway.
During this time, her daughter was placed in the care of her grandparents, Barbara and Ken.
Yeah, I don't think that's a much better option.
Yeah, it's like psych lady or the parents that raised her.
Like, they're both kind of not great.
But then again, she had like 8 other siblings that aren't murderers, as far as we know.
True. But are they stand-up citizens? We don't really know that much about
If you're a knight, email us. Let us know what your childhood was like. While at the hospital, Katherine told the nurse she had intended to kill the mechanic at the service station because he had repaired David's car, which allowed him to leave, and then killed both her husband and his mother when she arrived in Queensland.
Yep.
That makes sense. You fixed his car, so I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, you're the reason he left.
And then, kill the petrol station attendant because he got petrol from them?
At every petrol station from New South Wales to Queensland?
Yep, and then every McDonald's and every...
Yeah.
Good plan. Police notified David, who was working as a truck driver in Queensland, and his wife was locked in a psychiatric ward under heavy sedation in the most notorious mental institution in New South Wales. His mother, Jean, and David drove the hundreds of kilometres to be with Katherine, who apparently sparked up the minute she saw him.
Oh.
So you're going to murder him, and you're like, oh my God, my husband's here.
Estranged husband.
Husband that ran away from you and
Why
your
would
child.
You go back. You stupid David.
On August 9th, 1976, Katherine was released into the care of her mother-in-law on the condition that Jean see to it that she was taking her medication.
Yep.
Okie dokie. They collected their daughter along the way, and within a couple of weeks, Katherine and David were back living together in a rented bungalow in Woodridge in Queensland, where David drove trucks and Katherine took a job boning at the Dinmore Meatworks in Ipswich. Stop giving this lady knives and jobs with knives.
And teaching her how to dismember things.
Yeah, well, yes. Does come in handy for what she does. The reunion turned out to be stormier than ever, with Katherine regularly flying into violent rages over nothing in particular, assaulting her husband with her fists, kitchen appliances, and anything she could lay her hands on.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, like, how do you think she's going to change? Medication?
Well, she did go to the mental hospital and
3 times.
She's all fixed now.
She's fine. Despite the toxic relationship, on March 6, 1980, Katherine gave birth to a second daughter.
Men really need to learn not to stick their dick in crazy.
And why? Like, she had such a bad time after the first one. Why would you go through it again?
Yeah.
Why would you I don't know. And then one day in 1984, as if in answer to David's prayers, she was gone. She'd come home one night from work, and he had come home one night from work, and the house was bare. Katherine had packed up her 2 daughters and everything that wasn't nailed down and moved back to live with her parents on their farm outside of Aberdeen. Do you reckon she was just doing like a Ted Bundy and she was like lining him up for her to leave him?
I reckon.
Like, he left her and then she's like, oh, I'm going to bring it back, have another daughter. You think everything's good and then I'm going to fuck off?
I'm going to be the one to make the choice. Yeah, I think it was definitely more of like I have to be the one to leave. You don't
Yeah.
leave me.
I have
leave
to be
you.
the victim. Oh, but then, yeah, I don't know. Ow.
That was cute.
That's my hiccup. I don't like multiple hiccup. I just get a...
Just the
that's it.
one.
Or if I do get, like, occasionally, probably for 6 months, I'll get, like, proper hiccups and they fucking hurt.
Ugh.
I'm just like... although she had returned to work at the abattoir, she injured her back the following year and went on a disability pension. Since she no longer needed to rent accommodation close to her work, the government gave her a housing commission residence in Aberdeen. Katherine had a couple more relationships while living in Aberdeen. The next one in 1986 was with 38-year-old miner David Saunders. A few months into the relationship, he moved in with her and her daughters, although he kept his old apartment in Scone? It's a suburb, not a baked good. Fucking love a good scone.
Ugh, scones, jam and cream.
There's always a truck at the markets up here that have like a scone guy, and you can like pick your scone and what you want on it. Oh, so good. Katherine soon became jealous regarding what he did when she was not around and would often kick him out. He would move back into his own apartment where she would follow him and then beg him to return. So not a great pattern of behaviour. In May 1987, she cut the throat of his 2-month-old dingo pup in front of him for no more reason than as an example of what would happen if he ever had an affair before going to knock him unconscious with a frying pan.
Jesus.
Imagine...
The return of the fry pan.
And slitting his dog's throat in front of him.
Leave the animals alone.
Oh, I can't, it's bad to kill people, it's bad to kill animals, but, I don't know, animals are just so much...
They're completely innocent. It's
Yeah.
like children.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not that David really did anything, but, leave the fucking dog out of it.
Yeah, the dog did absolutely, I get she could rationalize in her head, oh, he cheated on me, so I got to kill him. But, what did the dog do? The dog looked at you for too long? He sniffed you too long?
He loved the dog, so, it's just another way to hurt him.
Yep. In June 1988, she gave birth to a third daughter, which prompted David to put a deposit on a house. Katherine would then pay off the deposit when her workers' compensation came through in 1989. Katherine decorated the house throughout with animal skins, skulls, horns, rusty animal traps, leather jackets, old boots, machetes, rakes, and pitchforks.
That is an aesthetic.
It's
Farmhouse chic.
murder house chic. No space, including the ceiling, was left uncovered.
Damn.
Have you seen the photos?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Why? What if it fell? You've got 3 little kids and you're putting pitchforks and fucking animal traps around.
Add those pics to the Instagram.
Yeah. We'll
thing.
put them up so you can see. I think it's just a fucking pitchfork attached to... How do you attach it to the roof?
I don't know, because I've never thought about it.
Jay!
I've never once thought about how to attach a pitchfork to a ceiling.
Long ways as well, not just shoved in there.
I don't know, you probably have to screw it there with some brackets or some shit.
She's handy lady. After an argument in which she hit David in the face with an iron before stabbing him in the abdomen with a pair of scissors,
Fuck.
he moved back to Scone. But when he later returned home to Aberdeen, he found that she had cut up all his clothes. Fucking hell.
So she's burnt all his clothes, cut up all his clothes.
This is the second guy.
Oh, yeah, okay.
The first one was he David as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was David as well. David Kellett. And then this is David Saunders. So she burnt the first David's clothes.
Now she's cut up the second David's clothes.
Yep, hit both of them with frying pans.
She just wants him to be naked.
Naked and fucking comatose. David took long service leave and went into hiding. Katherine tried to find him, but no one admitted to knowing his whereabouts. Several months later, he returned to see his daughter and found that Katherine had gone to the police and unjustingly told them that she was afraid of him, and they issued her with an AVO against him.
Clever.
Maybe we'll look at both sides before we put AVO and IVOs on people that don't business.
I have so many issues when it comes to AVOs and IVOs.
So do we, but We'll have to leave that far off.
That's definitely an off-air chat.
In 1991, Katherine became pregnant by 43-year-old former abattoir co-worker John Chillingworth and gave birth to the following year to a boy. So now she's
Close your fucking legs.
Well, she's got 4 now.
Her and her mum both need to just close their legs.
That's a lot of kids.
Yeah.
Like, Jay's one of, he's the 14th grandchild. And Logan was the 30th great-grandchild.
That's
in his
ridiculous.
family. My family's got like 12 people in it.
That's ridiculous.
That's a lot of fucking people. They said like his auntie would have been pregnant like the whole of the fucking 80s.
Shit.
Or like 80 to 90.
Again, close your fucking legs.
Get a TV. The relationship lasted 3 years before she left him for a man she'd been having an affair with for some time, John Price. John Charles Thomas Price was born on the 4th of April 1955. He was the father of 3 children when Katherine began an affair with him. John was described as a terrific bloke who'd give you his left arm if you needed it. He was liked by everyone who knew him, and his own marriage ended in 1988. While his 2-year-old daughter had remained with his former wife, the 2 older children lived with him. John was well aware of Katherine's violent reputation as she moved into his house in 1995.
Okay. So he's just stupid.
I feel like she traps them and then just gets more violent.
But if you're aware, like you live in the same town, you would
Yeah.
know.
That she's hitting
The
people with
rumour
fry
mill.
pans.
The rumour mill, there's always some form of truth to something.
Yeah. But like also if he was like, would give someone his left arm if they needed it, he was probably like, oh.
Well, she
She's-
could arrange that.
she
She'd
was-
just chop it off.
He was probably like, oh, she's going through a tough time. Like maybe he was like, I can fix her.
You can never, ever fix them.
No. His children liked her. He was making a lot of money working at the local mines, and apart from violent arguments at first, life was a bunch of roses.
Oh, just apart from violent arguments. Just the violent arguments aside.
And if he was in the mines, like they probably weren't together a lot of the time.
Yeah, but when they are, they're violently
Yeah.
arguing. Come on.
Not ideal. But life was a bunch of roses.
I mean, if I could change one thing about her, it would be that she's violent.
Yeah, she's.
Then she
Other
would
than
be
that-
perfect. Other than that, she'd be perfect.
And like this is her 4th kid. She had 2 with one, a 3rd with the other, and then a 4th with another.
And they're all affair babies as well. Well, most.
No, the first
not
one's
all
married.
of them. Not all of them, but like the subsequent ones, they're all affair babies.
Yeah. In 1998, Katherine and John fought over his refusal to marry her. In retaliation, she videotaped items he had allegedly stolen from work and sent the tape to his boss. This part fucking pisses me off. Although the items were out-of-date medical kits that he had scavenged from the company rubbish tip, John was fired from the job he had held for 17 years.
Fuck off.
If you worked somewhere for 17 years, you took something out of the fucking bin and took it home.
It was going in the bin.
It was going in the bin and they were out of date. So why is it a problem? And why did you fire him?
Well, because he stole.
But it's in the bin, isn't it? Like, if it's in the bin, it's no longer your property.
I don't know, but I agree. It's absolutely fucking stupid. Also, honey, if you're living with the man and he's making really good money in the mines, why would you jeopardize his job? Because that's also your livelihood. Woman.
And she's only on a disability pension.
He's paying your bills.
Yeah.
He's buying you food.
He's letting you live in his house.
Why would you want to get him fired from a job that he makes really good money at, you dumbass?
She's not the sharpest knife in the bedroom.
Above the bed.
Above the bed. The same day, he kicked her out, and she returned to her own home while news of what she had done spread throughout the town. A few months later, John restarted the relationship, although he now refused to allow her to move in with him. The fighting became even more frequent, and most of his friends would no longer have anything to do with him while they remained together. Imagine your relationship's that bad that your friends don't even want to be around you.
Yeah. Yeah.
In February 2000, a series of assaults on John reached a climax when Katherine stabbed him in the chest. Finally fed up, he kicked her out of his house. So she likes hitting with objects and stabbing. On February 28th, he stopped at the Scone Magistrates Court on his way to work and took out a restraining order in an attempt to keep her away from both himself and his children. That afternoon, John told his co-worker that if he did not come to work the next day, it would be because Katherine had murdered him. Despite their pleas that he should not return home, he stated that he was afraid Katherine would kill his children if he did not. I feel like you joke and you'd be like, my wife's going to kill me if,
Because I bought another motorbike.
Yeah, like a pub be like, one more, my wife's going to kill me. But like, hey, if I don't come to work tomorrow, Catherine's murdered me. Like, surely you'd be like, I'll come home with you, or like get the police. Like, surely you'd be a bit more concerned.
Especially when she's got a violent temper.
She nearly killed her own baby.
Like, that's not just I can't stay any longer, my wife will kill me.
Yeah.
No, I'm actually afraid that if I don't turn up, you know why.
Katherine had something to do with it. And I feel like she'd be the first suspect anyway if anyone
obviously
died in these men. John arrived home to find Katherine, although not there herself, had sent the children away for a sleepover at a friend's house. He then spent the evening with his neighbour before returning home and going to bed at about 11 p.m. Earlier that day, Katherine had bought new black lingerie and had videotaped all her children while making comments which have since been interpreted as a crude will. She later arrived at John's house while he was sleeping, sat watching television for a few minutes, and then had a shower. She then woke John. They had sex, after which he fell asleep. At 6 a.m. the next day, a neighbour became concerned that John's car was still in the driveway, and when he did not arrive at work, his employer sent a worker to see what was wrong. Can you imagine the worker that was like, hey, if I'm not in tomorrow, I've been murdered, and then he doesn't fucking show up the next day? Like, you'd be like, oh my God, is this just weird coincidence that like he said that and then now he's not here, or did something fucking happen? Both the neighbour and the worker tried knocking on John's bedroom window to wake him, but they alerted police after noticing blood on the front door. Breaking down the back door, police found John Price's body and Katherine comatose from taking a large number of pills. The following count is the complete report by crime scene investigator Detective Senior Constable Peter Anthony Masuccio, who was the first officer into the premises after the initial discovery of John Price's body. Okay, This
is where it gets good.
This is where it gets fucked up.
Or perhaps if you're not as fucked up as we are, this is where it gets a little bit gross.
This is like the
warning.
The warning, the triggers.
Proceed with caution.
Yes. At 10 a.m. Wednesday, the 1st of March 2000, in company with Detective Sergeant Neil Raymond, I attended the premises at 84 St Andrews Street, Aberdeen, in relation to an alleged homicide. There I spoke to a number of police, including Duty Officer Graham Forlonger, Detective Sergeant Bob Wells, and Senior Constable Michael Prentice. Premises is a single-storey, 3-bedroom dwelling which faces generally south onto St Andrews Street. There were 2 galvanised steel garden sheds in the rear yard, one at each rear corner. There was also a brick barbecue against the eastern boundary. My attention was drawn to a piece of cooked meat on the rear lawn in front of the white Ford sedan. I made an examination of this piece of meat and collected it for further testing. During my examination, I took a series of photographs of the premises and the piece of cooked meat on the lawn. I entered the premises to conduct a cursory examination with Detective Sergeant Raymond. I walked in through the rear door and into the kitchen. Once inside the kitchen, I saw a large section of what appeared to be human skin hanging from the top architrave of the doorway leading into the lounge room.
It's just like a
curtain.
Yeah. She just wanted to redecorate a little bit.
She just wanted to add.
She just needed a curtain.
This piece of skin extended from the top of the doorway right to the floor and appeared to be an entire human skin. Could you fucking imagine walking into that?
No. Could you imagine like walking in and thinking that was just a curtain and then like fucking like, you know how when you walk up to a curtain you touch it to like push it out the way? Can you imagine?
One of the, I can't remember if it was either a TikTok or a podcast, and one of the guys that was at the scene, it was really dark, and I think he said that he did that.
Yeah.
He went to push it away and went,
That's not
what
a curtain.
the fuck am I touching?
Why is it cold?
Fuck that.
That does not feel like fabric.
Looking through this doorway into the lounge room, I could see a headless and skinless human body. I walked east along the hallway and looked into the entry foyer and saw an extreme amount of blood pooled on the floor. There was also a large amount of blood smearing over the eastern wall of the entry. I walked further east along the hallway and noticed some blood staining leading from the main bedroom. In this bedroom, I noticed more blood staining, however, only moderate amounts. I then left the scene and had a discussion with Sergeant Raymond and other investigating police officers outside the scene. I noticed blood staining to the shoulder area of a blue shirt which was draped over the chair on the western side of the table. The medication on the table consisted of 3 boxes of Floridor ER 5 mg, of which
Milligrams. 5 milligrams.
Is it?
5 mg, 5
Oh.
milligrams.
Of which 2 were empty. This medication normally contained 2 strips of each containing 15 tablets. However, there was only 1 strip full of containing 15 tablets. So she had 15 Floridor. I don't know what they are. Probably should look that up.
Probably.
There was also 1 empty box of Prinavil 20 tablets and an empty box of Dapatabs were also on the table. This medication, when full, contains 90 tablets. I think they're all like antidepressant, anti-anxiety or anti-bipolar stuff. As mentioned earlier, I saw what appeared to be a complete human skin or pelt hanging from the top architrave of the door, separating the dining room and the lounge room. On closer examination, I could distinguish black curly hair at the top, a nose, a part of the mouth, and an ear. About halfway down the pelt, I could see a clump of short black curly hair consistent with pubic hair. I could not recognize any other particular features as it continued to the floor. It just makes me feel so ill. The edges of the pelt were incised, indicating to me that it had been removed with a sharp instrument.
Yeah, as in like they were
Like an incision.
It looked like an incision,
Yeah.
not like they were ripped apart.
Oh. There were also a number of distinct stab wounds to the pelt, about 1 meter down from the top. The pelt was attached to the architrave by a stainless steel meat hook. Jesus Christ. It's the fucking definition of bringing your work home.
Yeah.
Oh. The pelt was a meat hook. The hook was pierced through the top of the head area of the pelt and then hooked over the architrave on the lounge room side of the door. The skin appeared to vary in thickness from approximately 1 to 4 centimeters. I noticed a blood trail leading from the lounge room to the kitchen towards the kitchen cooktop in the vicinity of the aluminum? Excuse me. Aluminium.
Where do you think you live?
America, apparently. It does look like aluminum.
No, it's aluminium.
Aluminium. Boiler. The boiler on the right rear element, which was at the time turned off. When I lifted the lid to the boiler, I noticed it was warm to the touch. It just doesn't get any better.
I reckon it goes great.
It's just so fucked up. Like, imagine actually having to see this scene of like human. Oh. The pot was full of liquid, and on the surface, I could identify a skinned human head and a number of cooked vegetables. Oh, dear God.
This is a Katherine Knight special. It is called Husband Stew.
Husband a la fucking, yeah, slow cooker. Oh. Just to the right, or the northern side of the cooktop, I saw 2 prepared meals. Each of the meals consisted of 2 pieces of cooked meat, baked potatoes, baked pumpkin, zucchini, cabbage, yellow squash, and gravy.
Delicious.
It sounds really good if the meat wasn't a human.
Wasn't John.
Poor John. Underneath each of the meals was a torn section of kitchen paper with a name written on it. The word Becky, was written in blue ink on one of, and on the other piece of paper was the word Jonathan. I'm assuming they're John Price's kids.
They are absolutely John Price's kids.
The piece of meat appeared on the plate was similar to the piece I collected from the rear lawn.
AKA Daddy Dinner.
Daddy is on the lawn and in the oven and in the lounge room and hanging from the architrave.
What's for dinner? Little bit of Daddy.
Little bit of John Price. Oh, dear God. The skinless and headless body of a person now known to me as John Charles Price, was in a supine position with his legs protruding into the entry foyer from the knees down.
Supine is laying down.
Oh. There was a substantial amount of blood smeared over the carpet around the body. As mentioned earlier, there was also an extreme amount of blood pooling on the floor of the entry foyer. In this blood pool and staining were marks where the body of the deceased had been dragged about 1 metre from the middle of the entry foyer onto the carpet in the lounge room. The deceased was lying on his back with his legs crossed at the feet. The left ankle was on top of the right. His left arm was extended out from the body at an angle of about 45 degrees. It just reminds me of like on The Simpsons when they all turn inside out.
Yep.
Oh, God. Imagine like I could just, like obviously she crossed his ankles, but like he's also skinless, so she'd have to touch. Oh. Under the left wrist of his arm was an empty 1.25 litre Shelby's Club lemon squash bottle. The right arm was also extended and lying alongside the body. The body was virtually devoid of skin and flesh, exposing the muscles and some organs. There were a number of wounds present on the body, one of the most obvious being a stab wound to the left side of the chest, which extended into the chest cavity. As stated, the body had been skinned in a manner that leads me to believe that the person responsible would have had skill in this area. Which he did. It's just so fucked up. Examination of the neck region of the deceased indicated that the head had been removed very carefully and cleanly with a sharp instrument.
Katherine Knight's prize knives.
Oh,
At it again.
it's just so fucked because it's like she
knew what she was doing because she spent years perfecting the skills.
and she would have just been like, what is it, like muscle memory, like just this is what I used to do at work every day. I'm just gonna do it to my partner.
Wowzers.
On the northern wall, on the western side of the door to the kitchen, was a small display cabinet. Lying on this cabinet was a broken picture frame containing a picture of John Price. Lying on top of the picture frame was a blood-stained watch. So she's like, sorry, let me just take your watch off before I take all your skin off. To the west of the photograph, still on top of the cabinet, was a blood-stained handwritten note together with another broken picture on top of it. Apart from being blood-stained, it had small pieces of flesh on it. The note was poorly written and contained very basic spelling mistakes. It read, "Time got you back, Jonathan, for rapping my daughter."
Did you mean raping?
Yep. But she put 2 P's in it, and daughter is D-O-U-T-R. D-O-U-T-E-R.
Daughter.
Daughter. You too, Beck for Ross, for Little John. Now play with Little John's Dick John Price.
Okay.
Yep, apparently there was no proof of anyone
Ever rapping her daughter?
Yeah. Like a Christmas present. Katherine had stabbed John with a butcher's knife while he was sleeping. According to the blood evidence, he awoke and tried to turn the light on before attempting to escape while Katherine chased him through the house. He managed to open the front door and get outside, but he either stumbled back inside or was dragged back into the hallway where he finally died after bleeding out. That'd be so fucking sad. Like, you've just been stabbed. You get
made it
out
outside
your front door, and then you're back inside. John's autopsy revealed that he had been stabbed at least 37 times in both the front and back of his body, with many of the wounds extending into vital organs. At some point during all this, Katherine went into Aberdeen and withdrew $1,000 from John's bank account at an ATM.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why? Not sure.
Just pause my decapitation and skinning.
Yeah, just let him. Was she maybe waiting for him to like bleed out? So he was definitely dead before she
but like
killed
could
him?
have just stabbed him a couple more times.
Because 37's not enough. Katherine initially offered... It's not even what it said. It just added letters. Katherine's initial offer to plead guilty. It just added the initially offered. Nope. Katherine initial... Fuck.
Catherine's initial offer.
Catherine's initial offer to plead guilty to manslaughter was rejected on the 2nd of March 2001. She was charged with murdering John Price, to which she entered a plea of not guilty. Then who fucking did it, Catherine?
I didn't murder him, but perhaps manslaughter.
But everything points to you. When the trial commenced, Justice Barry O'Keefe offered the 60-jury prosecution the option of being excused due to the nature of the photographic evidence, to which 5 accepted. The next morning, Catherine changed her plea to guilty and the jury was dismissed. So she made fucking 55 people look at the fucking photos of this scene just to be like, oh, you know what? I plead guilty. Justice O'Keefe adjourned the trial and then ordered a psychiatric assessment overnight to determine if Catherine understood the consequences of a guilty plea and was fit to make such a plea. Catherine's legal team had planned to defend her by claiming amnesia and dissociation, a claim supported by most psychiatrists, although they did consider her sane. Psychiatrists. Psychiatrics.
Are you okay? Well, this is only the first episode we've recorded. Do we need to order more coffee?
I think I need to chug that one.
Could we send Jay to get coffee?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to need one and it sounds like you do too.
I gotta put that on the microwave because it's very cold. 2 psychiatrists concluded that Catherine suffered from borderline personality disorder.
Okay.
She definitely has something. At the sentencing hearing, Catherine's lawyer requested that she be excused to avoid hearing some of the facts, but the application was refused.
Yeah, mate, you fucking did them.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean excuse hearing the facts? You were fucking there.
You did. The facts are because of you. You did the facts.
Are you did the thing with the knife.
But she blacked out.
No, you didn't black out, bitch. He rapped your daughter.
He rapped. But how can someone use the excuse of I blacked out when they've never had any other fucking... fair enough if that's a regular thing, you black out.
Yeah, if you have seizures or whatever, or
but you commit
manic
a crime,
rage.
And then you're
rage?
Wrapped?
Wrapped.
But all of a sudden you murder somebody, you're like, I blacked out. It's like, you've never fucking blacked out in your life.
Just this once. And then I happened to brutally murder my man.
Just the one time you had a seizure.
And hang his pelt up in the house.
Oh, it's
like a
just
curtain. I'm sorry, but I love that she left his pubic hair on there too.
She could have shaved it for him. God.
I mean, she could have also just cut
Not
around
killed
that
him.
bit. Oh, well, yeah, that too.
She could have cut around it. No, she could have just not killed him.
She could have done that.
She could have just left.
She could have not killed him, but also she's just left his pubes hanging there.
Maybe he liked his pubes.
Have you ever seen the pictures of the pelt?
No.
Of the they're not very great pictures, but of it hanging up in the kitchen.
No.
You've not?
No.
Oh, we'll have to Google that. They've got there are pictures of it. They're you can't see the pubes because I've always wanted to know, were the pubes attached to the pee skin or was that?
Oh yeah.
I want to know, did she also cut the pee skin or did she have to leave that behind?
Well, it said he had absolutely no skin on him.
Yeah, but did she manage to get it all off in one piece is my question.
I reckon she did.
She'd be pretty good at it.
She'd be, yeah. And
but is his dick dangling with the pubes?
We'll find out. Let us know.
If you have ever seen these pictures in better forms than the ones I could find on Google,
it's hard to find them on Google.
Can you tell me, is his dick still attached?
The one that fucked me up that I'm like, I need to stop looking so close into photos was what's his name? Travis. Fuck, what's his name? Travis. Jody Aris. Travis.
No, the only name coming to me right now is Barker, and that's not it.
Travis. No, not Total Tools. Travis Alexander. If you're on Murderpedia, his autopsy photos are on there, and they really fucked me up.
Oh, I love a good autopsy photo.
Oh, this was his whole head, after the... Anyway, 2 psychiatrists, borderline... When Timothy Lyons took the stand and described the skinning and decapitation, she became became hysterical and had to be sedated. On the 8th of November, Justice O'Keefe pointed out that the nature of the crime and Catherine's lack of remorse required a severe penalty. He sentenced her to life imprisonment, refusing to fix a non-parole period, and ordered that her papers be marked definitely never to be released, the first time that this had been imposed on a woman in Australian history. That's pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
According to James Phelps' book on women in prison, in prison, green is the new black. Since she was taken into custody, Katherine has found religion, paints and knits, and acts as a queen bee, sorting out disputes among prisoners.
That's actually very common.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, because she wasn't even that old when she went in there.
No. There's a few of those around.
Oh.
Also, knitting is a very common hobby in prison.
Why the fuck would someone like Katherine Knight be allowed knitting needles?
Well, once they're in prison and they've proven themselves, they can have access to a whole lot of things.
Oh. Like knitting needles?
Often they do the gardening themselves too.
Oh, dear God.
They have to work.
The prison officers never take their eyes off her. She is not allowed near knives. And
Really?
And she even told one of Phelps' informants that she can't have a cellmate in case she kills again.
Yeah. Well, you are a murderer.
Yeah. James Phelps spoke to prison officers who supervised Katherine. A typical day for Knight starts at 7 a.m. every morning, where she wakes to go to the one of the most tedious jobs in the prison. What do you reckon her job is in the prison? This is like early 2000s as well.
Early 2000s. I don't know. Does she sew shit?
No.
Oh.
She makes headphones.
Oh. Okay. So she makes them. Where I work, they clean them and pack them for the Qantas headphones for the planes.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So when you go on the Qantas flights and they're all like cleaned and packaged and sealed in the little thingies.
Prisoners do that.
Yeah.
Speechless.
Yep.
That's so fucked up. That's like,
Well, who else are they going to pay to do it?
Sheen workers?
They get paid like $6 a day.
Like, that's not bad. Like, what do you expect? You don't have to pay rent or food.
No. And also the Tim Tams are like $1. Like a packet of Tim Tams are $1 in prison. Bitch, I want $1 packet of Tim Tams.
Yeah, shit. Let's let's go to prison.
Maybe don't.
No. Bed and 3 square meals though.
I enjoy being able to leave.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
She's stuck in a factory every day from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. making headphones on a big loud machine. Katherine is said to be one of the best workers in the headphone factory and commands the top wage. She enjoys her job and takes pride in what she does. 4 guards flank her, they watch her every move and are with her every day. After Katherine finishes her day at the headphone factory, she eats lunch before retiring to her cell. She has a bed, clothes, and the centerpiece of her room is a big old table that she uses for making art. She also sits at the table to write letters.
Who is she writing letters to?
Yeah, who the fuck? Her children?
But
surely you wouldn't want contact with your mother after that.
Yeah, I love my mum, but if you went and like murdered me dad and skinned him and hung him up in the house and tried to feed me him for dinner, prob's not.
Probably not.
Prob's not gonna want to write your letters in prison, doll.
It's probably like pen pals.
True, that is a thing.
I might start a pen pal. Are there any serial killers left?
There's killers. I don't know if there's serial killers in Australia that I'm aware of.
We'll find one. We'll find a pen pal. Katherine has been described by officers and inmates as a hoarder whose cell is full of knitting, knickknacks, and art. Her room is very cluttered. She has shit everywhere. She has been there for so long, and it's like she'd just kept everything she'd ever been given. Not many people ever got to go in her room. She keeps it very private. She's going to be there until she dies, so she has made it her home, a place where she feels comfortable.
Yep.
Katherine has also become known as an incredible artist in the prison, but she doesn't want some sick person buying her art because they think what she did was cool. The thought of someone hanging something on their wall just because she is a killer repulses her. You hung a fucking person on your wall. Dear God. Inside Malawa Max, Katherine is known as the Nana, She's also the prison event planner. She organises a big catch-up every Friday. She organises all the food and makes sure that everyone in the wing is part of it. Would you really want her organising your food after she cooked her partner?
No.
There is also a photo, when you Google her, of when they had a special visitor at Silver Water Women's Prison. Do you know who that special visitor was that she has her arm around in the photo?
No.
It was George Pell.
Oh, of course it fucking was.
George
Oh,
went
we
to go
have
visit them.
so many thoughts about George Pell.
So
This is
ready.
not. This was never meant to be an anti-George Pell podcast, but it's turning into one.
Yeah, because he's a fucking douchebag.
Fuck that cunt.
He was the guest speaker at my year 12 graduation.
Oh,
My dad left.
should have thrown tomatoes at him.
Well, at that time, like, all the shit hadn't come out yet,
yeah.
unless you were, like, in Ballarat,
Yeah. Okay. True.
where Dad and his brothers were at an orphanage in Ballarat, where George Pell was the bishop of Ballarat.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's been a lot of shit about George Pell. I hope he is in hell now,
He would be.
somewhere. But yeah, that was Miss Katherine Knight. Did she have a nickname? The Butcher of Aberdeen or something?
Let's just give her one. The Butcher of
Yeah,
Aberdeen.
she's the Butcher of Aberdeen. I think it just makes me feel so sick because you can fucking picture it. Like a curtain
Yeah. With pubes.
with pubes and hair and, it's just so fucked up. And those
Nipples.
poor, I don't think I put it in there, but like it was either TikTok or a podcast. I think it was a podcast. Well, like a lot of the officers quit after seeing that scene. They were just like, that's enough for me. I'm out. And then people like left the house and they were throwing up in the front yard and stuff.
Damn.
I wonder if someone owns that house now.
Surely.
Would you be up where price was hung up?
Yeah.
It literally, it would have been like that, but like a 90s house.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for listening. You can
Find us on Instagram.
Instagram at DisorganisedDetectives. I don't think we even said to the start of the show what the name was. Oh, if you clicked into it, you knew.
We are disorganized detectives, hence the disorganization of this
Hence
podcast.
The Disorganized. And you can, if you'd like to buy us a coffee, because we need coffee,
Coffee.
you can, I think the link's in the show notes or it's on our link thing on Instagram. We also have a TikTok that I've been
A tiki-toki.
clipping little bits of the audio and putting them to pictures and putting them on TikTok.
Tiki-tok. How are our tiki-toks doing? Not great?
No, that was like 300 views.
Oh!
No
look
one's
at us
liking
go.
it or commenting, but 300 people have
Well,
seen
people are
them.
looking at
People
them.
are seeing them, which is cool.
That's enough.
And yeah, so far we've had listeners in Australia, obviously, and America, and there was some in Sweden and Mexico.
Yeah.
Very odd.
That's a nice little mix.
Yeah, it's a big mix.
Thank you to all my family and friends that listen to this.
Yeah, that's the Australia.
All the Australian listeners are people that we know, so thank you.
The first few were me, just on every platform, making sure it was on there and it was like playing. But hopefully by the time this episode comes out, we have a few more listeners.
Hopefully, yeah.
But yeah, we'll catch you next week where we're going to
Not Australia
not
this
Australia, I think it's America. But yeah, we'll see you then. Thank you for listening.
time. Bye.
Bye.